All right, welcome back to the Dead Sea Scrolls. We're going to go ahead and just get started here soon. It's going to be a shorter update here. We're almost done with the laws and community rules and everything like that. My apologies if you hear a dun, 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 dun in the background. That is my ceiling fan in the room because it is very warm outside. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started here on the Miksat Ma'aseh Torah. However I'm supposed to pronounce that. It just means some observances of the law. So there is a part that just talks about a sectarian calendar. Super interesting from this Qumran cult here. Let's go ahead and just read it. On the 16th of the second month, Sabbath. On the 23rd of it, Sabbath. On the 30th of it, Sabbath. On the 7th of the third month, Sabbath. On the 14th of it, Sabbath. On the 15th of it, Feast of Weeks. On the first of it, Sabbath. On the 28th of it, Sabbath. The first of the Sabbath, Sunday, and the second day, Monday, and the third are to be added. And the season is complete, 91 days. The first of the fourth month, Memorial Day. On the 4th, of it, Sabbath. On the 11th of it, Sabbath. On the 18th of it, Sabbath. On the 25th of it, Sabbath. On the 2nd of the 5th month, Sabbath. On the 3rd of it, Feast of Wine, first of Sabbath, Sunday. On the 9th of it, Sabbath. On the 16th of it, Sabbath. On the 23rd of it, Sabbath. On the 30th of it, Sabbath. On the 7th of the 6th month, Sabbath. On the 14th of it, Sabbath. On the 21st of it, Sabbath. On the 22nd of it, Feast of Oil, first of Sabbath, Sundays. Afterwards, offering of wood. Next fragment, 4Q394, the 28th of it of the 12th month, Sabbath. The first of the Sabbath, Sunday, and the second day, Monday, and the third are to be added to it, and the year is complete. 364 days vakat. So as you can see, they're doing kind of a shorthand thing to keep everything together in a nice, neat little spreadsheet, like a primitive spreadsheet for keeping track of Sabbaths and feast days here. If you look at the way the Hebrew calendar was scheduled, it was a lunar calendar, very predictable, very machine-like in how each day would be exactly as how it was supposed to be. So I can imagine this was a handy-dandy thing for them. But then we get to MMT-B, various observations of the laws, B, special rules, fragment 4Q394. These are some of our teachings, which are the works which we think, and all of them concerned, in the purity of ... And concerning the offering of the wheat of the Gentiles, which they ... and they touch it ... and defile it ... one should not accept anything from the wheat of the Gentiles, and none of it is to enter the sanctuary. And concerning the sacrifice ... which they cook in a vessel, in it, the meat of their sacrifices, and that they ... in the courtyard ... it with the broth of their sacrifice. And concerning the sacrifice of the Gentiles ... we consider that they sacrifice to an idol, and that is like a woman fornicating with him ... the sacrifice of peace offerings, which they postpone from one day to the next. But it is written, compare Leviticus 7:15, that the meal offering is eaten with the fat and the meat on the day of their being sacrificed. For the sons of the priests are to take care of this matter, so as not to burden the people with sin. And concerning the purity of the heifer of the sin offering, he who slaughters it, and he who burns it, and he who collects its ashes, and he who sprinkles the water of purification, all these are to be pure at sunset, so that the pure shall sprinkle the impure. For the sons of Aaron, and we're moving from fragment to fragment here, for the sons of Aaron are to be, and furthermore concerning the skins of the cattle and the sheep, ... from their skins vessels, ... they are not to bring them to the sanctuary, ... So they're taking some of the strictures of sacrifice and what was to be sacrificed, and they're making it even harder. If you bought wheat from a Gentile, that's a no-no. That's not accepted, sir. That's kind of the idea here. Remember, the Qumran community hates Gentiles. And they hate most other people of Semitic descent as well, but they really hate them some Gentiles. Like, no joke, for real, no cap, straight bussin', they hate themselves, some people that aren't like them, in ways we could not understand, to the point where if somebody brought something for a sacrifice that otherwise is fine, even if Moses didn't specify whether it was permissible for you to use wheat in a grain offering to God that you bought from a Gentile. These people over here in the Qumran, they're like, no, that's tainted. That's tainted. We're going to add to God's law to make sure that we're not even touching stuff that Gentiles touched. Ew, icky Gentiles. Continuing on, in the next fragment, and furthermore, concerning the skin and bones of unclean animals, they shall not make from their bones and from their skins handles of vessels, and ... And furthermore, concerning the skin of the carcass of a clean animal, he who carries their carcass shall not touch the sacred purity. And concerning ... Moving on to a different fragment, the sons of the priests are to be careful regarding all these matters, so as not to burden the people with sin. And concerning that which is written, if a man slaughters in the camp or slaughters outside the camp an ox or a lamb or a goat, Leviticus 7:13, for ... on the northern side of the camp. Next fragment, and we consider the sanctuary as the tent of meeting into Jerusalem, as the camp and outside the camp, i.e. outside Jerusalem, that is the camp of their towns. Outside the camp they bring out the ashes of the altar and they burn ... For Jerusalem is the place he has chosen from all the tribes of Israel, which is an interesting thing for Qumran to be saying because they weren't residing in Jerusalem. Remember, this is an eschatological group here. They presume one day that they are going to take over, kill everybody they don't like, which is everybody except themselves, and then they will resume going into the Old Testament era, but better. That's what they want. So here they are assuming that Jerusalem is still a holy place. It's just taken over by the sons of Belial or whatever. And they still want to totally take over. So continuing on right there. Next fragment. ... Great start, guys. ... They do not slaughter in the sanctuary. And concerning pregnant animals, we consider that one should not sacrifice the mother and the unborn young on the same day. And concerning eating, we consider that the unborn young may be eaten, provided it has been slaughtered. This is so, and the saying is written concerning a pregnant animal, vakat. And concerning the Ammonite and the Moabite, and the bastard, and the man whose testicles have been crushed, and the one whose penis has been cut off, who enter the congregation, ... And they take wives so as to be one bone with them, ... Okay, still making things harder on people. And it's really weird. They want to talk about animal fetuses and whether or not you can eat them or sacrifice them. I'm just not even going to go there. That's weird and gross. Continuing on. Next fragment. Impurities. And furthermore, we consider that they should not ... and should not have intercourse with them ... and they should not unite with them so as to make them into one bone ... that some of the people ... from all sexual mingling, and to be fearful of the sanctuary. The theory being that if your people were miscegenating, that would make the sanctuary unholy. Even if it was a people group that God permitted you to take wives from, doesn't matter. Anyway, and furthermore concerning the blind who do not see how to be aware of all minglings. I guess that means even blind people just shouldn't take wives unless it's assigned to them. I don't know. And do not see the minglings which entail guilt offering, and furthermore concerning the deaf who have not heard the decrees and judgments and purity rules, and have not heard the judgments of Israel. For he who has not seen and has not heard them does not know how to practice them. Yet they come to the pure food of the sanctuary, vakat. And furthermore concerning the pouring of liquids, we say that it contains no purity. And furthermore the pouring does not separate the impure from the pure. For the poured liquid and that in the receptacle are alike one liquid. And dogs are not to be brought to the sacred camp, for they may eat some of the bones from the sanctuary, to which meat is still attached. For Jerusalem is the sacred camp, and is the place, which he has chosen from all the tribes of Israel, for Jerusalem is the head of the camps of Israel. And furthermore concerning the planting of fruit trees planted in the land of Israel, they are like first fruits destined for the priests, and the tithe of the cattle and sheep is for the priests. And furthermore concerning the lepers, we say that they shall not come into contact with the sacred pure food, for they shall be separated, ... Furthermore, it is written that from the time he, the leper, has shaved and washed, he shall stay outside, ... for 7 days. And now while their impurity is with them, ... they shall not come into contact with the sacred pure food of the house. And you know, ... and it is concealed from him. He is to bring a sin offering, And concerning the person who does anything with a high hand, it is written that he is one who despises and reviles God. Numbers 15, verses 30 to 31. Impurities of leprosy, they are not to eat from the holy things, until the sun is set on the 8th day. And concerning the impurities of a man, we say that every bone to which flesh is or is not attached is to be treated according to the law of the dead or slain, vakat. And concerning fornication practiced by the people, they should be sons of holiness, as it is written, Israel is holy, Jeremiah 2:3. And concerning his clean animal, it is written that it shall not be mated with a different kind. And concerning his clothes, it is written that they shall not be of mixed material. And he shall not sow his field and vineyard with two kinds, for they are holy, and the sons of Aaron are most holy. And you know that some of the priests and the people mingle, and they unite and defile the holy seed, and also their seed with whores, for ... And concerning the women, ... violence and betrayal, ... for in these ... on account of the violence and fornication, ... they perish ... places. And furthermore, it is written in the book of Moses that you shall not bring an abominable thing into your house, Deuteronomy 7, verse 26, for an abominable thing is detestable. So continuing on here, we go to the exhortation, MMT part C. And you know that we have separated from the mass of the people and from mingling with them in these matters and from being in contact with them in these matters. And you know that no treachery or lie or evil is found in our hands, for we give for these the ... And furthermore, we have written to you that you should understand the book of Moses and the books of the prophets and David and all the events of every age. And in the book it is written, Great. Would have been great, guys, if y'all hadn't been so fragmentary. I could have figured out what was in the book. ... Not for you in the days of old. And furthermore, it is written that you will depart from the way and that evil will befall you. And it is written, next fragment. And it shall come to pass when all these things befall you in the end of days, the blessing and the curse, then you will call them to mind and return to him with all your heart and all your soul, Deuteronomy 30, verses 1 and 2, at the end of days. And it is written in the book of Moses and in the books of the prophets that there shall come ... and the blessings come. The blessings came, Moving on, in the days of Solomon the son of David, and the curses came from in the days of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, until Jerusalem and Zedekiah king of Judah were exiled, that he will bring them to ... And we recognize that some of the blessings and curses which are written in the book of Moses have come. And this is at the end of days, when they will come back to Israel forever ... and shall not turn backwards, and the wicked shall act wickedly and ... Remember the kings of Israel and understand their works, that each of them who feared the Torah was saved from troubles. And to those who were seekers of the law, their iniquities were pardoned. Remember David, that he was a man of piety, and that he was also saved from many troubles and pardoned. We have also written to you concerning some of the observances of the law, which we think are beneficial to you and your people. For we have noticed that prudence and knowledge of the law are with you. Understand all these matters, and ask him to straighten your counsel and put you far away from thoughts of evil and the counsel of Belial. Consequently, you will rejoice at the end of time when you discover that some of our sayings are true, and it will be reckoned for you as righteousness, when you perform what is right and good before him, for your own good and for that of Israel. Vakat. Okay, so by the way, yes, they were against mixing of peoples, which is perfectly logical. In the law, God doesn't like mixing fabrics. He doesn't like mixing animals. He doesn't like putting two animals together that are unequally yoked. So it's logical to say that people shouldn't generally mix either. No problem there. Just the problem is that they take that to the nth level, right? Where they wouldn't mix with people that Moses had permitted them to mix with. It's kind of like an Irishman and a Welsh woman getting married and having babies and stuff like that. Is that just not permissible if you're an Irish nationalist or something? Aren't Welsh close enough? Anyway, we move on to the next document here, which is very brief, called The Wicked and the Holy. Oh, goodness gracious, I'm going to have to turn off that fan. One moment, please. All right, got that nice and quiet. The Wicked and the Holy, it's just a very small fragment that starts with a ... a fragmentary whole that we have no idea what was originally there. For guilt with the congregation of his people, for it has wallowed in the sin of the sons of men, and it was appointed for great judgments and evil diseases in the flesh according to the mighty deeds of God. And in accordance with their wickedness, in conformity with their congregation of uncleanness, they are to be separated as a community of wickedness until wickedness ends. In accordance with the mercies of God, according to his goodness and wonderful glory, he caused some of the sons of the world to draw near him, to be counted with him in the community of the gods as a congregation of holiness in service for eternal life, and sharing the lot of his holy ones, each man according to his lot for which he has cast for, for eternal life, So here we're starting to get into a little bit of that Enochian perspective there that we will see more of as we get past their collection of hymns and stuff like that. And they talk about the Watchers. They're starting to tie that into the community rule, but we don't really see too much of it because, well, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff is lost to the sands of time and various fragments. So let's keep going here. Halakha A, fragments 1 and 2. And to draw water from a cistern, the drawing no man shall take anything from his place on the Sabbath from outside the house into it, or from the house outside for him to interpret and read in the book on the Sabbath. Halakha being kind of like interpretational things or exegetical paraphrases. Main topics being, of course, the Sabbath. Fragments 4 through 7. When men quarrel and one strikes his fellow with a stone or with his fist and the man does not die but keeps his bed, then if the man rises again and walks outside, he who injured him is not guilty. Only he shall pay for the loss of his time and for his medical treatment, vakat. Based. People could just get into fights. Mutually consented fights, just fist fights. That's cool. Anyway, when a man strikes his slave, male or female, with a rod, Fragment 8. When a man strikes his slave, male or female, in the eye and destroys it, or if he knocks out the tooth of his slave, male or female, he shall free him. He shall pay for the loss of his time and for his medical treatment for the sake of his eye or his tooth. Exodus 21:26 and 21:19. When an ox gores a man or a woman, the ox shall be killed, and they will stone it, and its flesh shall not be eaten. But the owner of the ox will not be guilty. But if the ox has been accustomed to gore in the past, and its owner has been warned but has not kept it in, and it has killed a man or a woman, the ox shall be stoned, and its owner shall also be put to death. If a ransom is laid upon him, then the man shall give... Compare Exodus 21, verses 28 through 30. Fragment 9. Let no man eat wheat, wine, or oil, unless the priest has waved their best, the first fruit of the produce. No man shall delay, for wine is the first fruit of the produce, and the wheat the juice, Exodus 22:28. The first fruits are the leavened loaves which they bring on the day of the first fruits. These are first fruits. Let no man eat new wheat until the day of the bread of the first fruits has come. Fragment 16. When a woman is given to a priest, she may eat the food of her husband. One acquired by him for money, and one born into his house, they may eat his food. But a whore and a profaned woman may not eat the consecrated food, and every unfaithful deed which a man shall commit, to eat, for it is an abomination, owner who is without redeemer. Fragment 17. On cases of incest, The awkward, No man shall take the wife of his father so as to uncover the skirt of his father. No man shall take the daughter of his brother or the daughter of his sister. No man shall uncover the nakedness of the sister of his mother or of his father. This is wickedness. A woman shall not be given to the brother of her father or to the brother of her mother. A man shall not uncover the nakedness of... A man shall not give his daughter... Now we get to 4Q Halakha B. It's just 3 fragments there. Let's see here. Fragment 1. No man shall revise the scroll of a book, reading its script on the day of the Sabbath. But they may read and study it. No man shall make plans with his mouth. On the day of the Sabbath he shall not talk about any matter relating to work or wealth or... on the day of the Sabbath. He shall speak no word apart from speaking holy words as prescribed and from pronouncing blessings of God. He may talk about eating and drinking. Oh yeah, purity spiraling to the max. Huh. It's so stupid. You can't even talk about work. Don't even think about work. Because if you think about work, you might do work. By the way, reading and studying the stuff we want you to read and study, that's not work. You can keep doing that. That's Qumran, ladies and gentlemen. We move on here to Tohorot, or purities. Is some of the Cave 4 manuscripts here, fragment 1. Let him not begin to cast his lot. He shall lie on a bed of sorrow and sit on a seat of sighs. He shall dwell in isolation with all the unclean and away from food purity at a distance of 12 cubits in the wing assigned to him on the northwest of every dwelling house according to his measure. Every man from among the unclean, ... he shall bathe in water on the 7th day and wash his clothes, and afterwards he may eat. For this is what he said. He shall cry, unclean, unclean, Leviticus 13:45, as long as the plague affects him. So he's talking about, this is starting to talk about dudes with skin conditions and leprosy and stuff like that. A woman with a 7-day issue of blood shall not touch a man with a flux, nor any vessel touched by a man who has a flux, nor anything he has lain or sat on. But if she has touched them, she shall wash her garments and bathe, and afterwards she may eat. Above all, she shall not mingle with the pure during her 7 days, so that she may not pollute the camps of the holy of Israel. Neither shall she touch any woman with a long-term issue of blood, and the person, male, either male or female, who counts the 7 days, Leviticus 15:13, shall not touch the menstruant during her uncleanness. Only when she has purified herself from her uncleanness may she be touched. For the blood of the menstruant is reckoned as a flux for anyone who touches it. And if he has touched bodily flux or semen, he shall be unclean. And he who has touched a man from among all these unclean persons during the 7 days of his cleansing, he shall not eat. If he has become unclean because of a corpse, he shall bathe in water, wash his garments, and afterwards he may eat. Don't be surprised, by the way, that the Old Testament law, especially the Levitical law, was really, how can I put it? They seemed really, really weird about bodily fluids and things like that, and cleanness and uncleanness. God gave a lot of the laws in Leviticus during a time when there really wasn't germ theory. And so blood-borne diseases, skin conditions, things like that otherwise would plague other nations, if you stuck to the Mosaic cleanliness laws, you would be more or less okay, or you'd have a lot less of this sickness going around. Continuing on in Fragment 2, when they sprinkle on him for the first time, he shall bathe and wash his clothes before he eats. If it occurs for him on the 7th day, on the Sabbath day he shall not sprinkle on the Sabbath, for he says, keep the Sabbath, Deuteronomy 5:12. But he shall not touch anything pure until he has repeated it. All that touches semen, be it a man or any vessel, shall be immersed, and the bearer of it shall immerse. And the garment on which the semen is, and the vessel which carries it, shall be immersed in water. If there is a man in the camp who is unable to do this, lacks a spare garment, he shall bathe and put on any garment which has not been touched by it, the semen, as long as it does not touch his bread or food. He who touches his bread or his seed of his garment has not touched it, the semen, he shall bathe in water, but if his garment has touched it, the bed or the seat, he shall wash it, the garment. A man shall wash his garment with water for eating all consecrated food. Okay. So, yep, more kind of gross topics here concerning bodily fluids and nocturnal emissions, that sort of thing, of just go wash up. Nobody wants to touch that. Nobody wants any venereal disease you might have. I mean, goodness gracious, that's just gross to think about in days before commonly, easily acquired hand soap. But we move on here. God uncovers the pupil of his eye. He shall read, ... all their precepts, ... for he who eats, ... and he is unclean, ... If the fruit's juice has not oozed out, he shall eat it in purity, but all those which have been squeezed so that their juice has oozed out, no man should eat them, if an unclean man has touched them. And also from the greens, ... or ripe cucumber, whoever has, ... And any vessel which has a seal, ... shall be unclean for a cleaner man. Any green that has no moisture of dew on it may be eaten, and if it is not eaten, let him put it into the midst of the water. For if a man were to put it on the ground, and water reached it when the rain descended on it, if an unclean man touches it, let him not eat it in the field by any means until the period of his purification. Any earthen vessel which ... which is in its midst ... the liquid ... Okay, so more adding to the law here, because the question would be, well, what if an unclean guy touches a fruit and I don't know about it, and then I see an apple there on the floor? How do I do that? Like, dude, just don't worry about it. Just eat the fruit, I guess. But remember, these people are obsessed with the law to the point of adding to it. which is the opposite of being obsessed with it because the law says don't add to it, but they don't mind. Continuing on here with Tohorot B. And the priest wears the garments in which he is not ministering in the sanctuary, renders the garments guilty, and he slaughtered the heifer before him. He shall carry her blood in a clay vessel which is not brought near the altar, and with his finger he shall sprinkle some of her blood 7 times towards the front of the tent of meeting, and he shall cast the cedar wood, the hyssop, and the scarlet material in the midst of her burning. And he who burns it, a man who is clean of every corpse uncleanness, shall wash his clothes and gather up the ashes of the heifer, and shall deposit them to be kept by the children of Israel for the water of uncleanness, for the removal of sin. And the priest shall put on ... The priest shall take the hyssop, and ... The man cleansed from uncleanness, lasting until the evening, shall gather the ashes of the heifer, and give them to the priest who atones with the blood of the heifer ... with which they atone with the law of the red heifer in water, and he shall be unclean until the evening. And he who carries the cauldron of the water for uncleanness shall be unclean, and shall wash himself in water, and wash his clothes, and the man shall sprinkle the water for uncleanness on those defiled by uncleanness, for a pure priest, ... on them, for he shall atone for the unclean. Learn grammar, guys. No wanton man shall sprinkle on the unclean, ... the water for uncleanness, and he shall bring him to the water, and shall purify him from corpse uncleanness, ... The priest shall scatter on them the water for uncleanness to purify them, for they will indeed be purified, and their flesh shall be pure, and anyone who touches him, ... his flux, ... and his hands are not drenched in water. His bed and his dwelling shall be unclean, ... They who touch his flux are like one who has touched the uncleanness of one who has touched a corpse. He will be unclean until the evening, and he who carries his clothes shall wash and shall be unclean until the evening. Harvesting, fragment 4Q284A. Basket. Yeah, it starts with a fragment that just has the word basket, and they decided to put that in the translation. Thank you guys very much for being thorough. And let him not gather them, ... may not touch the liquids of the congregation, for these render unclean the basket and the figs and the pomegranates, if their juice oozes out when he squeezes them all, and a man who has not been brought into the covenant has gathered them. And if they press olives in the olive press, let him not pollute them in any manner by opening them until he pours them into the press in purity. Here's one that sounds cool, but is not very long. The Master's Exhortation to the Sons of Dawn, 4Q298. Sounds pretty cool. It's fragmentary. Word of the Master, which he spoke to all the sons of Dawn. Listen to me, all men of heart and intelligence, and understand my word. And seekers of righteousness, hear my word and all that proceeds from my lips. Those who know have searched these matters and have returned to the path of life. And now listen, O wise men, and hear, you with knowledge hear. And men of understanding, increase might and modesty, you who search judgment. You who know the way, increase strength, and men of truth pursue righteousness. And you who love kindness, increase humility. Appointed time which, ... you will understand the end of the ages, and you will gaze at ancient things to know, ... Great. Thanks, dude. You could have put this on vellum. If you put this on vellum, maybe we would know it. But we continue on. 4Q, men who err. The outcasts who stray and do not practice the precept, for they transgress it from day to day, from month to month, all that is in the covenant of Israel, ... It's flesh and they spit, ... And he will be angry, and the dogs will eat the bones coming from the temple. He shall exclude the dogs from the temple court. That's it. Now we got one, maybe two more here. Register of rebukes. Fragment 2. Who, ... who acted wickedly, ... the congregation, ... Yohanan, son of Ar. Wow, they're writing down their little list of grievances here. Let's see if this gets juicy. Are we going to see some juicy gossip? ... They rebuked because he was short-tempered, ... with him, ... the iniquity with him, and also the spirit of pride was with him. Vakat. They rebuked Hananiah Natas because he ... to disturb the spirit of the community, ... and also to mingle the ... They rebuked because evil ... was with him, and also because he was not ... and also because he loved his bodily nature, or showed preference to his near kin ... blank there's a blank space, and they rebuked Hananiah, son of Simon, because he ... and he also loves the goodness ... So I wonder if this Hananiah guy or Yohanan, son of Ar, may have ripped this one up, hence the fragmentary nature of it. All right, last one. Next time we upload for the Dead Sea Scrolls readings, we're going to get to the hymns and poems and stuff, and maybe dive a little bit more into their worldview. But this one, very last one, it's just one paragraph. Remonstrances, presumably before conversion, fragment 4Q 471. Time, you have commanded not to. ... You have been unfaithful to his covenant. ... You said, let us fight his wars, for he has redeemed us. ... Your mighty men shall be humbled, and they did not know what he has despised, that he is despised. ... You shall show yourselves mighty in war, and you have been reckoned ... by his measuring line. You shall seek righteous judgment and the work. ... You shall exalt yourselves, and he has chosen them ... for a cry. ... And you will return ... Sweet. That's it. So that's all the community rule stuff here. We went through the actual Qumran community rule. We went through the Damascus document. We went through the War Scroll. And we went through a bunch of little fragments here that demonstrate that even in their day-to-day lives and their commentaries, they were more or less about the same crap. And, communities like this can't really thrive for very long without either massive hypocritical problems, where everybody's stabbing each other in the back, nobody's actually following all these rules, or they try and burn out and die. My guess is with Qumran, it was a mixture of both. Hence a very ripped up and blank parts all over a catalog of rebukes. But maybe when we get to the hymns and poems, maybe sometimes they smiled. We'll figure that out next time we upload. Until then, guys, I love you all. Amen and amen.